That's what we mean by surprise guest, you see. And now for another surprise guest. Here is a lady that I'm sure many of you have seen at many of the programs at the 92nd Street Y, because she's become a mainstay there. I've known her since she replaced B. Lilly in Inside USA. She also was in Something for the Boys with Ethel Merman, and she was in One Touch of Venus with Mary Martin. And tonight she's here doing a wonderful party song by Cole Porter. Paula Laurence. Let me just... Okay.
Mrs. Lowsborough-Goodby gives weekends, but her weekends are not a success. But she asks you so often, you finally soften and end by answering yes. When I left Mrs. Lowsborough-Goodby, the letter I wrote was polite, but it would have been bliss had I dared write her this, the letter I wanted to write. Thank you so much, Mrs. Lowsborough-Goodby. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that infinite weekend with you. Thank you a lot, Mrs. Lowsborough-Goodby. Thank you a lot. And don't be surprised if you suddenly should be quietly shocked. For the clinging perfume of that damp little room. For the cocktail so hot and the bath that was not. For your guests so amusing and mentally bracing, who talked about racing and racing and racing. For the ptomaine I got from your famous tin salmon. For the fortune I lost when you taught me backgammon. For the mornings I spent with your dear but deaf mother. For the evening I passed with that bounder, your brother. And for making me swear to myself there and then never to go for a weekend again. Thank you so much, Mrs. Lowsborough-Goodby. Thank you too much.
Bravo.
Thank you. Many of Cole Porter's shows suffered from such an embarrassment of riches that many treasures of songs were abandoned in rehearsal. There were just too many of them. And this one was written for, let's face it, and abandoned in Boston, a fate worse than death. Some folks collect paintings, some folks collect stamps, some are amassers of antimacassars and other Victorian camps. Some folks collect horses, others we know, Reno divorces. But I, little me, well, I just can't wait till you see my pets. I collect pets. I collect everything from mice to marmosets. I've a whirling mouse called Jumbo and a cockatoo from Colombo who tells dirty jokes and smokes cigarettes. I've a dinner-jacketed penguin who gives me lessons in poise, and a very sexy old peacock who makes such an interesting noise. But the pride of my collection is my bevy of Harvard boys. I'm like a child, I'm simply wild about my pets. I collect pets. I collect everything from mice to marmosets. I've a genuine chinchilla and a rather shishi gorilla who wears negligees and plays minuets. I've a Persian kitten from Newport who only cares for whipped cream, and a pair of riotous rabbits. The way they behave is a scream. And as soon as I've more cages, I'll take over the Dartmouth team. I'm like a child, I'm simply wild about my pets.
I do my husband's first wife. My husband's first wife. Talk about it.
Thank you. Thank you. I've had an urgent request from Peter to sing this song, which he originally taught me, which we did in Sweet Adeline, and which I sing whenever anybody will let me because I do love it.
And it always stops the show.
There once was a marvelous woman. Oh, a wonderful woman was she. She cooked like an angel, made all her own clothes. At 4 every morning, this paragon rose. She played the piano and cello, and scrubbed up the kitchen each day. She sang like a dove, and she wasn't above taking in refined washing, they say. She was my husband's first wife. My husband's first wife. She never was cranky. She jumped when you called, and the house ran on nothing at all. So he tells me, my husband's first wife, my husband's first wife. She hated bicycling, it gave her no thrill. She never went out, and she never was ill. And oh, how I wish the dear girl were here still. My husband's first wife. My husband's first wife. My husband's first wife. She sang as she brought up the coal every morn. And she mentioned vacations with scorn. So he tells me, my husband's first wife, my husband's first wife. Her figure was lovely, just 18 she looked. The children were scrubbed and their shoes always hooked. They were born in the morning, but dinner was cooked by my
Thank you.